Welcome to another Biddle on Saturday, December 28th, 2019, the last show of the year, and we are officially open for business. How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Fantastic.
You guys sound so
Awesome.
excited. I love it.
I'm doing just good. Fine.
All right. So, like I said, this is the last episode of the year, and we did not have a Distro challenge this week because we figured, nobody wants to do a Distro challenge on the holiday week anyway, and that will give us a free week, and we can talk about our predictions anyway. So, before we get into our 2020 predictions, we have to go back, PZ. We have to go back to last year.
Wow.
We have to see who predicted what. And, if it would have been real cool had I had like videos to throw out there for each person to say and roll that video and everybody could hear what they said, but I'm not that detailed. And I went through and watched last year's episode and I made specific notes on everybody's predictions, and I can't find that document.
Oh, dear.
So we're just going to have to run with, I happen to remember that Prophetic was taking notes at the time.
Excellent.
So he did make a document and sent it to me last year, like that week or the week later. So he doesn't have everything that we predicted down here because I think as we were going along, people were adding their predictions.
Mm-hmm. He has a lot of them.
He has a lot of them.
And the crazy thing is, you can find that from last year, but you can't find something from this week. It's the computers drive you crazy, don't they?
Yep. Well, Catfish is not coming up with anything except this document, so we're just gonna run with it. So,
oh dear.
My prediction for last year was that Microsoft for this year, 2019, that Microsoft would release an operating system based on the Linux kernel. Hey, before we go any further, if you're typing, can you mute? If you have it on, unmute. Can you mute it? Thank you. All right, so I predicted that Microsoft would release a operating system on the Linux kernel, and this year. And Zeb, how'd I do? Did it happen?
Not to my recollection, although I will give you, let's say, 75% of it, because they do have that marvelous. Well, no, it's not them. It's the other way around, isn't it? So, yeah, no, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's Ubuntu that have linked into Microsoft, not the other way around.
Now,
but could we say though that because we have Azure?
Now, isn't Teams officially a Microsoft Office application?
Yeah, but it's not an OS.
It's not an operating system.
Oh, sorry, I was half listening.
Only half. Get out.
You got to be at least 1/4. But isn't like Azure Sphere? Isn't that Linux based? And isn't Microsoft now a part of the Linux Foundation because they are a distributor of Linux?
Yes.
So Azure Sphere is Linux based. It's actually the Linux kernel.
Yes, but
yeah,
that's
a server OS. Though.
If I'm going to be honest, that wasn't part of the prediction, and I could probably get away with saying, "Yeah, you're right," and I'm good on that one. But I was more talking about a desktop distro that you would be able to download.
Yeah, like Ubuntu or Pop or something like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So I just
so
messed
1
myself
for
up
0
there.
Yep.
Well, I did make a few other predictions during, like I added them, and I don't have them all because I don't have that document. But I do remember me predicting that Steve Mo West, his son, would become a dev for one of the Linux communities.
Nice.
And
that came true.
I can say that came true. I mean, I can't say he's a full-fledged dev, but he's definitely contributing to projects, including MX Linux. So I'm 50-50, PZ.
That sounds good to me. Now, please don't ask me to remember what I said last year because I've got no chance.
Well, I'm sorry if you guys are going to sit through some of this, but I can't exactly, that's just the way this first half is going to be. We're going to go through these one by one. So PZ, I will remember for you.
Okay, cool.
You said a new Linux phone will not happen in 2019.
However, I was probably, because at that time, that's a wrong, because the Pine phone has come out and has worked. I think I was probably specifically talking about Librem, but no, well done, Pine. You got me on that one, so I'm 0 for 1. I'm 1 down already.
And Alan Pope was on at the time, and he made a couple predictions. He said that Elon Musk will get the boot from one of his companies, basically. That didn't happen. Okay. So there will be an Android tablet worth using. I haven't figured that one out yet, as far as if that's true or not. I don't know of one that's worth using. So
yeah, no, the Pine tab's not out yet.
I use an HP touchpad from 2011 with Android on it. That's worth using.
Anything Samsung is quite usable.
I think if I'm not
I think that's kind of subjective.
I didn't word these, and I had worded the ones I had made. And if I'm not mistaken, he was comparing it to an Apple iPad. He basically said that there would be an Android tablet that people would choose over an iPad.
What we saw was the opposite, just Google continuing to just kind of give up in the tablet space.
Yep.
Samsung has released some solid ones, I think, but I haven't really heard a lot of people clamoring for them or anything, though.
Right. One of his other predictions, because he had a couple, was there would be a new Raspberry Pi with a radical new redesign of its space.
Yeah, that came true. Raspberry Pi 4.
Well, I think
was it radical though?
No, I don't think it fit the bill from what I remember him talking about in the episode. It was like the form factor would be completely different. And
right, yeah. Well, it's not that, but I would certainly call the ability to have 4K displays of a Raspberry Pi radical.
He also predicted that Apple would release an ARM CPU only laptop.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. And he had a wish that people would stop using DistroWatch as a measure of true interest and popularity.
that hasn't happened.
I think he's like 0 for 5, dude.
Boom. He crashed and burned.
Yep. Dan Simmons, who's not here tonight, and we can't get on because he is sick, so we don't want to get on too much.
But I think he's in the chat.
He said that 70% of the popular games will be Linux playable.
Thomas, is he close? I mean, you're the sort of gamer guy with the gamer OS.
70%.
My first question is, when you say Linux playable, do you mean Linux native or playable on Linux native?
Playable on Linux. Well, Proton.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was either.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say probably. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I would say probably, yeah.
I would say,
if it's not,
yeah.
Yeah, it's at least close.
We'll give you that one, Dan. Oh, look, he's shouting in there. Proton counts. Proton counts. He wants a win.
All right. Steve, Mo West, he said it will be the year of the Enlightenment desktop, and that there would be a mainstream distro that would come out and use Enlightenment as its default desktop environment.
Sorry, Steve, that didn't happen.
Ooh, that was a tough one.
She should have gone with i3 on that one.
Well, that didn't happen either.
Well,
and I'm not allowing Regolith.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Look,
that's not mainstream.
When I put these out there, you guys can jump in whenever you want to and rip on people. That's the fun of it. Joel, JJ, our good friend JJ there, said that Microsoft will release the next version of Office as a snap.
No, definitely didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Not going to happen,
Nope.
JJ. Sorry. Let's see. Peter, Mint Spider said that the market share will jump in Linux in all regards.
No.
I don't know what exactly he meant by that. Like, I don't know like the levels or how you would measure that, but that was his prediction.
And I don't think it has. It may have grown, but I don't think it's jumped.
Not to
I mean, in
not-
all regards. I mean, when we're already on top of the server market, can we really jump?
Well, I think he was more talking about the desktop
I know.
market.
Mhm.
But either way. Prophetic did make a prediction, but he didn't write his down here, and I can't remember what it was.
No, I can't remember either.
Joe, he echoed Peter to say that Linux would jump in market share. Still don't think that that's the case because,
No.
you know, like, yeah, we like you said, Zeb, we've grown in popularity, but not to the effect where you can actually like feel it and say, yeah, we've jumped in market share.
Even if we'd have had a 5% growth, that
Yep.
would have been a jump. But yeah, sorry, boys, didn't get there.
Yep.
We're not doing so well at the moment. I think it's
No.
only you and Dan.
Yeah, I think me and Dan are the only two that actually got something right, and I only got 50-50 right. So
That's because they were the only ones that had hoped for reasonable things.
Colin, he said, now get this. Colin went out on a limb here and said, Linux Mint will make bold changes in UI for users. He didn't say what bold changes. Like, bold for Linux Mint is like changing the icon set, you know? But he didn't say what. But has he got that prediction right?
Well, allegedly 19.3 has had fairly big changes, but whether I'd call them bold rather than just nice tweaks. Nah, sorry, Cole. I don't think I can give you that one.
Even in the latest 19.3, I think it is.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. I think it looks different, but it's still minty. It's not like, whoa, this is well done, Mint.
It's
like,
not Zorin OS, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or Enos or Pop or something that jumps out at you and goes, "Hi guys, I'm different." This is just good old Mint, and they keep tweaking it and making it better and better and better each year, but not bold UI changes.
Anybody else agree with that? Disagree with that?
I either agree or disagree.
Okay. Moving on. Magnus said that Valve and would market a Steam machine.
No, hasn't happened that I'm aware of.
No, hasn't happened.
Nope.
Adam,
Shame, because I think that would have sold well.
Well, I think that it depends on how they did it, but yeah, it had the potential to sell. Yep. Adam predicted that NVIDIA would make proper Wayland support.
Maybe in 2020, maybe.
Hey, these
Hey, there's
predictions.
that big announcement in March, so
Yeah. Well, these predictions are out there, so
Oh,
if you guys want
guys.
to copy them for this coming year, that's fine.
Go on, Peregrine. What
Is
you
there,
say?
is there such a thing as proper Wayland support?
Well, I mean, you know, that would take see, that to me is like, that would take years of work, especially when you put the word proper in there. Like, that would just take years of work. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, and they've only had 10 years already, so it's going to take a while yet.
Yep.
Right.
Unless NVIDIA jumps on board, in which case it could actually happen in the coming year.
Do you think, Dave, do you think they could do it in that short of time, even with the amount of developers that they have?
If NVIDIA open sourced its drivers and got on board to help, yes.
Well,
cool.
I don't think they will do
No,
that.
I don't think
but
they
if they
will.
did, it could happen.
it'd be nice if they would. You
Oh,
know,
I agree,
Instead
yes.
of being a roadblock like they have been.
All right. He did make a second prediction, and he predicted that the Biddle Discord would overtake the Telegram group.
Nope.
No, didn't happen. I mean, hanging out on a Discord is great fun, and we do have people hanging out there, but it hasn't overtaken Telegram.
No, not at all.
Barbara is not here. I don't know if she said anything in the group of why she isn't here.
Not heard anything.
She predicted that Apple would lock down its operating system on Macs even further than they had in the past. I don't know how to tell that. Like, I don't know how to measure that.
Well, I've been hearing chatter that the latter versions of Apple, you can't jailbreak them, so to speak. You can't get Linux to work on them. But hasn't that been the case since like 2016, 2017 anyway? So
you could get Linux working on Macs. It was a pretty straightforward system. It was actually supported by them in a way. It is called Boot Camp. And actually, you can still get Windows working. Problem is the T2 chip. There is no Linux support for it, and because of that, it doesn't even want to install. Basically, it's a version of secure boot that is
unobtainable. So was that this year? Did that come out in 2019?
Yeah, it was I believe with iMac Pro. We will try to build that this year.
I think we'll have to give that one to Barb then, because if they've got brand new MacBooks coming out and you can't put Linux on them, then she's nailed it. They've tightened it down.
Yeah.
Well, the question is not. The question is she said they would lock them down even more. Is it just that they're new and we have to do something different?
No, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
You can boot into it by into a live ISO, but you cannot install it. It won't boot into a live ISO or even installed in some cases.
Well, then I guess.
But on the other hand, Windows works totally normally, so don't worry, guys.
Well, then I guess Barb was correct.
Anyway,
But
eventually they'll figure out a solution to that.
But isn't this just a continuation of previous years where Apple has been putting the T2 chip in computers already? It's just these are new models coming out. It's not really anything new that's being done to lock things down. It's just the newer hardware that from lines that have not been updated that's getting
Well, that was my thing. Is it something that is just new and that we haven't figured out yet how to do it, or is it that they're actually actively doing something differently to not allow it?
T2 chip is getting basically every version of it getting more and more grasp on what it blocks and what it does. Even you can't even change storage in the devices. For example, in the new Mac Pro, the boot drives, if you take one out and put another SSD in, you won't be able to boot the system entirely because T2 chip will reject that SSD.
Right, but you can boot from an external M2 in one of the PCI Express slots. These things have been tested. I remember a video from Nasty Labs messing with this stuff.
But the main M.2 slots are locked down completely.
So we're going to go with a no then.
All right. I think
Sorry, Barb, I tried, love.
I think the jury's still out. We'll have to see. We'll have to let that go for now. Maybe. She's possibly right. So Thomas, you're here, and you made quite a few predictions last year. Do you remember them?
I remember I made them up on the spot.
Good man.
Well, this is your time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Your first prediction was that Snaps will finally support the theme of the OS that you're running.
Oh.
Nearly, but not
almost, but we can't give it
better.
To you. It's gotten better.
No plasma support yet.
Gotten better, but I don't think we can give it to you, Thomas. You said that Valve will make the SteamOS, and it won't be able to be installed on any other computer besides the Steam machine.
And there's no Steam machine, so
Okay, all right.
0 for 2.
You also predicted that Draugr OS would overtake SteamOS. I think you may be right there, only because there is no SteamOS.
What's the name of the OS?
By default, you win.
Let me check. Well, there is a SteamOS, but But let me check the de facto website a minute. Let's have a look.
Oh,
Mr. Alan Pope's famous.
Yeah, let's.
I mean, do
check
you win on a
DistroWatch.
technicality?
All right, who's going to
I'll
check
take it.
Distro Watch?
I'm doing it right now, Dave.
You check while we go on here.
You carry on. Yeah. I'll get back to you.
And I don't know if this was your prediction or if it was somebody else predicting it for you. But I think, as a matter of fact, I think it was Joe's, if I remember correctly, it was Joe Panico's prediction in chat that said you will finally pronounce Debian properly.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I pronounced Debian properly.
Yeah, I think we'll give him that one.
So I think that was Joe's prediction, but it's listed under yours. And there's another one that says you will mute for typing. And you have gotten better at that, Thomas, I have to say. So that's 2 for Joe that he's on the roll. Have you figured it out?
The problem with Steam OS is that neither of those OSs are in the top 100, so we can't verify it.
Ooh.
So I wanted to say that Snap actually supports Breeze and Breeze Dark. If you go to Snap, the directory in GTK common themes, then current, then shared, then themes, you can see all the themes that are supported, like Yaru, Matcha.
That doesn't help with Qt applications, though.
It doesn't?
No.
And I think, Aris, it wasn't, Thomas was more talking about just whatever theme
generic.
You have. You know, if you have even a regular theme that's nobody's ever heard of, that it will support it. Like Snaps will just support the theme that's on your system.
But I did add a
themes
comment,
that it supports.
But I did add a comment about KDE, and that's what Eris was responding to. And like I said, that support has not been fully added because Qt theme applications don't fit. And let's say I have like Falcon installed as a Snap. I have a dark theme running. I open Falcon, I'm blinded. So.
Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Paul, our good friend Paul, he predicted that this would be the year of the Linux desktop.
I think we need to redefine the year of the Linux desktop, because I can't remember where I read it, and it might have been on the Discourse channel, but somebody redefined the year of the Linux desktop. It will be when you were able to use the desktop the majority of the time. So for me, that was 2014. So it's what do you define as the year of the Linux desktop?
I mean, hasn't that definition been used on Linux Spotlight and even Brunch with Brent?
Yep.
So I think I've even heard that definition mentioned on Linux Unplugged. So I think that has been an attitude shift in these communities this last year.
Yeah, Cubicle Nate was the first one to mention that I remember hearing, that whatever year you found Linux was the year of the Linux desktop. I think that was the first person that I heard say it. So kudos to him.
I probably stole it from somebody. Don't give me credit.
Doesn't matter. It was the
it's
first time I heard it.
source. You just
oh, okay. Yeah, I forked it. Yeah, and made it my own. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right, Dolphin. I don't know if Dolphin's in chat, but
not seen him yet.
It would be cool if we could, yell at him. But he said that for XFCE 4.14 will be released.
Yep, 100%.
He was 100% right. But the funny part about this was that was his prediction for 2018 as well. So you have that.
Well, as they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. So
right.
Your mic has gone really hot, Nate.
Yeah, check for that auto adjust.
Yep. So Eric, the IT guy, was with us at that episode, and he said that Samsung DeX will get wide adoption. Down in burning flames there.
I guess I'll have to give him crap about that over D&D
I think it died
next Saturday.
Hey, there's Dolphin.
Linux on DeX died, but normal DeX is still going. So.
Dolphin in the house.
In the house. You got the money prediction there, Dolphin, with XFCE. Way to go. Going out on a limb there.
But then predicting it in 16, 17, 18, and 19 doesn't really work. But I'll give it to
Yeah. Okay, so besides the Samsung DeX prediction, he also predicted that he will finally settle on the layout and equipment for his podcast studio. And I haven't talked to him like deeply about his podcast studio lately, but I'm pretty sure that that's a negative as well. So he like went down in flames.
I'll be sure to check it out this Saturday. Next
So,
weekend.
He also predicted that AMD's new architecture will be super competitive with NVIDIA.
I think that's accurate.
I think that's accurate. I can't say
On
that.
low end.
I can't.
Very accurate.
I can't say that. Like it's perfectly accurate, but I definitely think it's very competitive with NVIDIA now, and I think that's a great
they are
thing.
knocking on the door.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
Yes.
Well, what is it? The only NVIDIA card that still tops out over AMD is the 2080 Ti. Everything else they can match?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is correct.
And this is for you, Tyler. He said that he is going to make more than one lug meeting this year.
Well, he managed to do that, but he did skip out this month.
Okay, so he did make 2. He was 2 out of 2 there. Is anybody writing these down who actually made theirs and made good on these?
No, we'll watch it back next year and then lose the document again. We'll be fine.
So, Nate, do you remember what you predicted?
I remember, I think 2 of them. I know one was SUSE was going to still make parody videos. I think that's one.
Yes, that is the
and then I
case.
think the other one was, I don't remember the middle one or one of them, but the last one was that there would be a some sort of a major commercial CAD software would work on Linux, and that didn't happen. However, you can get Fusion 360 working awesomely in Linux through Lutris. So 0 points.
So you did predict the more SUSE parody videos, which I think you got that perfect, right on, nailed it.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. That's it.
We'll take it.
I was sandbagging on that one.
You said that there would be more Linux in manufacturing, and I think you even went on to say that there would be a distro. That's not in this document, but I remember watching the video that you said something to the effect of that there would be a distro targeting the manufacturing sector.
And I don't think that happened really either. I would say I've been seeing a lot of either Debian or Red Hat is around, but I've seen more Debian like in testing things like things like Raspberry Pi are being used in manufacturing regularly for proof of concept. So, but it's not really Linux distribution targeted. So, goose egg on that one.
So you said that you mentioned about the Linux support, and you said that Fusion. How is that done, through Proton or Wine, or what's the deal?
It's Lutris. It's Lutris using Proton as the Wine version, basically, and that actually works so well, like crazy well. As in, I am still, even though it's been like 6 or 8 weeks since I started using it, I'm still gushing about it because I don't have to touch a Windows system to do quality.
So this is a high-tiered piece of software. It's not just like a low-level like.
No, this is a commercial grade software. Fusion 360 is commercial grade software that is really awesome for part design, for manufacturing, CAM, like a computer manufacturing. So you can do paths for CNC milling or whatever. You can do a lot of things. You can do finite element analysis. So you put an assembly together, you can actually test to see where your weak points are in assembly. It's a great piece of software. It's free for non-commercial use, but if you start, like if you make money off of it, Autodesk is going to want their cut. They're going to want you to pay for it. So as long as you're using it for hobbying around, for making things around the house or whatever, it's free to use. You just have to reapply every year for it. So I mean,
well, if you paid for it, you could use it, right? I mean, you could use it as like a company.
And it's actually it's like $500 a year. So really, that's actually very cheap. I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, $500 a year, but really, it's that's if you break that down and you're actually making money off of it. I mean, you're making a lot more money than that if you're doing, actual CAD cam work. Sorry, but yeah, no, it's a great piece of software.
Fusion 6. So Fusion 360 actually works through that. I'm gonna have to try that because I used to use that like a lot on Windows machines.
Yep. So go to the Lutris website, hunt down Fusion 360, click on that, the install there, and it'll do everything for you. There's some addendum type instructions, and something did change recently. You got to disable all the Vulkan stuff, and it'll work just fine. So as long as you disable Vulkan and you're using the DirectX 9 and not the newer one, whatever that is, then you're good to go.
I think we'll give you that one then.
So DirectX 9 to OpenGL. Okay. Well, I might have to ask you for help if I screw it up, but thank you, Nate.
Actually, not to self-promote here, but I did a post on my cubiclenate.com site for that information as well on how to set it up.
You want to post that in the YouTube chat, Nate?
Oh, sure. Yeah, give me a second here.
All right, moving on.
Next.
Let's see here. Steve. Steve. Is Steve in here? He's not in here. He was in here.
He was,
I think this is Steve's I think this is his predictions.
Steve said he was going to switch computers and he'll be back.
Okay, so it says Microsoft will screw up more updates.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, they did that. So I guess he's okay. And there would be more younger folks will be more involved in contributing. So
West Sun. Yeah.
I mean, I think he meant that there would be more, like a big push to have younger people.
What the difficulty thing there is, what do you call young, and how do we measure that? Because we don't have a finger on how many people are working for these Linux bits and pieces and how old they are.
Yep. I don't know how we measure that.
Yeah, we can only go by what we have seen here. And we've seen Mo West Sun contribute to MX. We've seen Joshua create and help create Ubuntu Cinnamon Remix. And now, believe it or not, Pizza Loving Nerd is trying to get into making his own ISO, his own distribution. So I'd give him 80% of that because we can't check the rest. What does everyone else think?
I think that's correct. I see a lot more younger people getting involved in contributing.
Yep.
So cheer up, Steve. You got that one, mate.
A little bit low hanging fruit, like Dolphin said, but it'll work. Scott Rocket Wolf there said that Team Red will take a huge share out of the Intel market share. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Depends on what market.
Yes.
Well, they can't keep their processors on the shelf. So I'd say so.
If you're talking like the enthusiast gaming market, I think they definitely have taken a good share. Server market is still pretty dominated by Intel, although Epic is starting to get a foothold. And Intel still heavily dominates the laptop market, especially when it comes to like enterprise class laptops. If you're looking at ThinkPads or EliteBooks, those are still going to be primarily Intel, especially when you look at these agreements between companies and manufacturers of laptops.
Anybody else?
If you look at the Steam statistics,
hit the nail.
So if you look at the Steam statistics, you'll see that AMD is growing over Intel right now. I mean, it's not overtaking. It's not even close, but the graph is shifting. So as of November, put that in the chat. And you can go and look at that.
Well, I don't think. Again, this is hard to measure because you're talking about a couple different markets here. Like Tyler said, the laptops. It's not easy to get an AMD laptop at times, depending on which one you're going for. They're definitely taking a market share out of the people who are buying parts to make computers. There's no question about that. But overall, how does that weigh out when you look at the whole market?
I mean, and the other part is if I were to buy a brand new laptop at this very moment, it would probably still have an Intel processor because I want to go with a vendor that's shipping Linux. And if I look at System 76, it's all Intel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
maybe he gets that one 50-50.
Maybe. We'll think about it.
I mean, I pointed out 3 markets, so how about 33%?
Then I wouldn't say that's not a huge share. I guess depending on how big it is.
But I mean, it depends. Like I said, we're talking 3 different markets here: servers, laptops, and then enthusiast desktops. So,
all right, Matt, Dark One, who never comes around anymore. He's too busy for us. He's too good for us. His YouTube channel's taken off, and he's too good to show up anymore.
Trolling the Dark One. You might regret that.
It comes back around.
It does. He said that similar to Mo West, that Enlightenment would be picking up in interest and start to become popular, which is definite zero there, Matt. Definite zero. And he also predicted a very specific prediction of Valve will get serious about hardware.
Well, they released the VR.
Hardware? Yeah, they released the Valve Index.
Yeah, okay, but they even discontinued the Steam Link, and I believe even the controller discontinued. So
yeah, so that's a no-no.
Yeah.
And what was that thing you said? Steam Valve Index? Never heard of it.
It's the VR headset.
It's basically the best VR headset in the market right now.
Basically, Watson says the best headset in the market, even though I'm more Oculus Quest guy.
So, Dark One, that's 2 thumbs down.
So can I predict that he will release a reaction video to that?
That's funny, Dave, because last year I added, after he made his predictions, I added, one of my predictions was that he was going to release another reaction video.
Well, you got that one right.
Okay, so Prophetic did finally put his down here at the very bottom, and he said that about Linux on mobile, that Librem won't ship a phone, a viable phone.
Well, that's debatable then, because
that's not debatable, dude.
Phone call.
No, it's not debatable.
That's not.
That's
debatable.
not a phone. That's not a phone. That's a.
If you can't do,
that's a computer.
If you can't do the one
birch
thing
patch right now.
If you can't do the one thing that you need to do, and that's make phone calls with your phone, then it's not viable, dude.
They ship Birch Batch, and if you've seen the reviews from it, especially from Gardner, they can't make phone calls yet.
It's not viable. This is in 2019.
It's not a phone
yet.
So this is a prediction for 2019.
That's not a phone then. If it can't do phone calls,
maybe in 2020, Thomas.
The hardware is there. They're still working out bugs, which, in all fairness, is basically a beta.
Right. Well,
it will be viable next year once the PinePhone launches.
No, a beta would be that you have basic working functions. It doesn't actually do the telephony functions properly.
So if it like PinePhone has launched and it's working.
Yeah, PinePhone. There's a phone call. There's like a minute phone call between 2 people on I think it's on Twitter.
Yep. He also predicted that many small distros will fall by the wayside due to new interest from the Microsoft Linux subsystem for Linux and the Chrome OS integration of Linux apps. So the big players will get bigger, the smaller ones will falter or fail. So I would say that there have been quite a few, many small distros that have went by the wayside, but I don't think it's because of those reasons listed. What do you guys think?
Which ones?
I think you're spot
on. Due to the subsystem for Linux on Microsoft and the Chrome OS integration.
Well, I do know that the whole Chrome OS Linux app integration has actually helped inspire even more work from somebody I met at Southeast Linux Fest that makes a Chromium OS distribution for like the GPD pockets and such.
But has that been the cause of distros going by the wayside? That's the question.
But I don't think that's the case.
No.
I don't see Michael picking up a Chromium OS laptop and running Kden Live on that.
Yeah, I don't think that is actually accurate.
Well, Antigos was the big one to go this year, wasn't it? And I don't think it was because of that reason.
No, it definitely was not for that reason. I think that is all of the predictions. Oh, he made one last prediction. He made a prediction that there would be some type of Linux marketing foundation of some kind created to market Linux.
DLN, anyone?
Yeah, I get that. That is kind of sort of a thing.
I guess DLN would fall into that. I didn't even think about that.
And I think Zeb gets the final word on that.
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, I mean we're trying our darndest to market it per se, but it's not our main goal. Our main goal is to put out some really good podcasts and help the community grow in that regard. I don't think we specifically made the company to market Linux. We're trying to do it, but I wouldn't say that we are a marketing, because that's what I think that was the terminology used, wasn't it, Rocco?
Yeah,
the creation of a marketing. Yeah,
you're right. It was. It was based solely on just to market Linux, not to market like a specific show or a specific thing. It was just
something like the
Linux
Foundation coming along and doing nothing but marketing of Linux. So yeah,
right.
No, I don't think he gets that one. But thank you, whoever mentioned DLN.
All right, that was our 2019 predictions, and I think there was one or two more that I had made during the show that I can't remember now, but we don't need to bring those up because they probably didn't come true. So we did get a few right, and we did get a lot wrong.
But we got more wrong, yeah.
So, yeah, there you have it. There's our predictions. Before we go into our predictions for this year, I want to mention our own PZ there. Just got done doing a 24-hour live stream charity event where he stayed up 24 hours streaming for the Free Geek, and that deserves a round of applause.
Thank you. I will just say, please don't try it, anybody. The first 22 hours were good. They were okay. And then all of a sudden it was like I was trying to go up this steep hill and I was like one step up and two steps backwards. And if you watch the last 2 hours of the show, I'm like, and then I'm doing something else, and then I'm trying to, and then every time somebody wanted to put another badge up, I was great. I can just relax now and just do something else. And it was a hard slog, but thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, I have expected to see like Mr. Bean's Holiday and toothpicks in the eyes.
I remember my friend doing wow this 24-hour stream, and I remember that he actually got about, I believe it was something like 16th hour, and then I went to sleep, and then he only went for 2 more hours because he had nobody he could play with, nobody he could like really interact with in major ways. So that's why he didn't fall asleep. And I woke up 3 hours later, and he was offline.
Well, I would like to say that this was also a record for live streaming Euro Truck Simulator or the trucking games in general. I think it was 19 hours. That was the last one.
I think so, yeah, by Wombat, yeah.
So this was with your breaks involved, because you did take, what did you take for his breaks?
20-minute breaks every 4 hours.
So with those breaks, I think it came to 22 and a half.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So 22.5 hours of total of streaming nonstop. So yeah, that is an amazing thing, dude. How much money did you raise?
Well, the last time I checked, it was a little over $1,500 in cash that went direct to Free Geek. Some people, for whatever reason, went to Free Geek direct, so we haven't been able to tell how much those are. And as of yet, Michael will have to contact Free Geek and ask them if, when people donated laptops or machinery or parts, etc., whether they put DLN in that donation. So there will be a number of people who would have sent some equipment over. So, and I think it was Chris DeLuca is now trying to work out with Free Geek, because they are just about to have a whole raft of new laptops and computers into their school system. And he's trying to arrange for every single laptop that they're getting rid of to go to Free Geek. So we're talking about a truckload here, and that will be awesome if that happens.
Yep. Yeah, it's not just the monetary value that was donated. It's the name that got out there. It's people donating actual hardware. Yeah, it was a good thing.
And I just want to add as well that it would not have been possible without you, the Linux community. You kept me going. You were there in the chat. You were there in the YouTube chat. You joined me on Discord. It was amazing. Thank you very much indeed.
All right. Moving swiftly on, because there's a lot of conversation we need to get to yet. We are, I guess, going to do our 2020 predictions for Linux. So if you have any predictions in the YouTube chat, some of you have already put some in there. If you do, tag my name with it so that I can put it in a document, and we will end up reading it so that everybody can hear it, and we can make fun of you next year. So, PZ, you are not going to be able to participate in this because obviously you make predictions for Destination Linux, and you have an episode coming up.
We're going to be recording our predictions episode tomorrow, but there's one that I will put in because I put it in every year, and I'm really sorry to rag on Wayland because I want it to work. But I don't think we'll see mainstream Wayland available in 2020. Now, please, before everybody goes, oh, but you can get it on this and you can get it on that. I've got an NVIDIA card and I can't run with it. Now, whether that's Wayland's fault or NVIDIA's fault, it doesn't matter. Give it another 10 years and NVIDIA might acquiesce and help us out. But I don't think we'll see Wayland adopted mainstream in 2020.
All right. So the rest of the predictions, if people want to hear them, they'll have to stay tuned to Destination Linux. All right. Nate, sir. 2020 is coming up.
So for fear of upsetting Michael, since he's almost like my boss now, I'm only going to give one of my predictions. Kind of.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to poke the Tennell bear. I don't want to. So
you have my permission as one of your other bosses to poke the bear. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my favorite prediction, the one that I want to be held accountable to. All right. So it's kind of like last year's prediction, but it was a little bit of a change. So I do think this year, it's also wishful thinking that there will be a CAD CAM package that will work in Linux, but will actually be marketed by the company. They'll make some kind of a hullabaloo about it, saying that this works in Linux. And I think there's a possibility that Autodesk with Fusion 360, they might, even though they may not actually directly support, build a Linux native, but I think that they're gonna start to support Linux maybe through, like a Proton or something like that. That they actually there'll be some sort of statement from the company, a marketing statement. So this is a specific one. There'll be a marketing statement from the company that they will be supporting Linux through this Proton system. And
do you think that it would be, do you think it's easier to support something like a Lutris install by the company rather than them do it natively?
Yes. And the reason is it's one code base. So what they would have to do is do some tweaking to make sure certain little weird things don't happen because it's wine based. Like, for instance, years ago, TeamViewer used to be all Wine. It was actually Wine Wrapper and TeamViewer in Linux. It worked super well. There were not any issues working with it, but they actually tuned their code to work in Linux, basically, through Wine. So I think that a little tweaking of the code by Autodesk, they could get that to work without any issues in Linux. That's what I think. So, and that's a prediction I want to be held to.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Sorry, I was miles away. Then I was reading the YouTube today. I'm trying to copy and paste any predictions that I can see. So you can do that while I take the next two. So Tony, welcome. And what are your predictions next year? And we won't allow that you'll continue to do every week's distro download install on a laptop before the show's finished, because we all know that's going to happen anyway.
I'll do my best. I have three. One of them is that Ubuntu Cinnamon Remix will become an official flavor.
Ooh,
bold. Mm-hmm.
Rocco will not be on the same distro by the end of the year.
Wow, how could you?
Pop
Tony,
OS will be gone.
Pop OS is
I think you might lose that one, Tony.
I don't know. That's a pretty tough one. I mean, I'm going to say that like maybe a year ago I might have agreed with you, but now it's like a 50-50 thing, dude.
Does the next version of Pop OS count?
Pretty happy. What's that, Vince?
Does the next version of Pop OS count?
No, that would not count.
No, because that's just an upgrade.
Same distribution. Okay.
Well, Rocco did make a prediction before that he was going to stay a whole year on a certain distro, and that sort of went a bit south. So it's a good gamble.
I don't think you need to bring that up, Tony.
And please note, Rocco, that it wasn't me who brought it up this year.
Whatever, Zep.
It's just gonna. I think that's gonna live with you forever, like the sword of Damocles, just sitting over there. Solus.
And the final one is that I will still, by the end of next year, be distro hopping. I will not have settled on a distro.
Wow. I think that's because you enjoy it a lot, like I do. You enjoy testing new distros and playing with them.
I do, but sometimes it's nice to have a computer that works. The wife will come in and ask me something, and I'll say, I can't tell you at the moment because I can't look it up because the system is not up and running.
Because I'm busy installing a distro. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's my predictions anyway.
Great stuff. Now, I tell you what would be really useful this time round. Can everybody remember their predictions and post them on Discourse for Rocco to save us all sitting down and typing them out now? That'd be a great idea.
Either that, I got to watch it again and then make sure I save the document.
Yeah, exactly. Aris, welcome. And can we have your predictions for 2020?
So I have three predictions. The first one is that Canonical will have net profit in 2020.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Canonical will have net profit in 2020. And this is clearing the path for a sale or an IPO in the following year.
Ooh, okay.
And then
2 years in one. I like
you
it.
care to say to who?
No.
Okay.
That I won't say. And then the second prediction is that with the release of Ubuntu next year, Ubuntu Mate, for the last 6 months of data of DistroWatch, it will reach the top 30.
Okay.
I think it's currently like 40 in the past 6 months. And number three, as I predict, somebody for next year's predictions will predict that the following year will be the year of the Linux.
The year of
Sandbagging.
the Linux desktop. Sandbagging.
Now, as far as sale of Canonical, Derek at DistroTube predicted that Microsoft will buy Canonical.
Yeah, that rumor's been going on for
They've been
about
saying that
4
for like
years.
past 2 years. Past 3 years.
Yeah. That's almost like a meme of the year of the Linux desktop now.
Well, it is gaining ground now because of, them hosting conferences for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
Vash, what about you?
see, my first one, XFCE 4.14 will be released at some point by the end of the year.
So Vash, where you been? 4.14 is out, mate.
That's the
It's
joke.
been out since August.
That's the joke. I'm automatically going to be right on that. So I'll still be on Linux at the end of 2020, and I will hopefully have picked out at least a couple of like my go-to distros instead of randomly just trying everything.
So you're a secret hopper like Tony, then, only you don't let us know about it. Sneaky.
I don't really jump around probably as much as Tony, but I mean, I tend, like, I was running Pop and then I just got irritated about something in it, and then I was like, no, we're just jumping to Manjaro. So I jumped to Manjaro. But I mean, right now I have one system running Ubuntu Mate, another system running Kubuntu, and then another one running Manjaro. So I think I'm starting to get there, but I'm thinking by the end of 2020, I'll kind of have my go-to distros that'll be the ones that I end up using the most.
Right, Vash, well, let's start the help therapy for you now. Repeat after me. I am Vash, and I'm a distro hopper.
I am Vash, and I am locating the right distro.
Admitting is the first step, Vash.
It is.
But as far as like an actual business one, I don't know. I think we see Steam, really try to get more with Proton and get, who knows what that'll actually turn out. I'm hoping they'll actually get anti-cheat, but I mean, I wouldn't really call that a prediction as much as a hopeful thing. But I don't know. I'm feeling good about that NVIDIA announcement. I'm very curious to see what they have to say. Let's go out on a limb and say kernel support for the drivers. Let's do it.
Wow. So you're actually predicting that the announcement in whatever, March or April, whatever they're deciding, is going to be that they're going to basically put the NVIDIA driver in the kernel like AMD has.
Right. And I'm not saying it would actually happen next year, but I'm saying they're going to be talking about working on it at the least.
Okay.
Cool.
So, but you're saying is that will be part of the announcement?
Yes, yeah. I think it will be. We will see.
I hope so, Vash. I hope you are correct. All right.
Derek is up next.
Yep.
Thank you. My first prediction is that Zeb's going to do an annual charity drive, trucking his way through Euro Truck and ATS, trying to beat his record.
I can tell you now that you have just failed instantly. I am never doing another 24-hour stream.
So I'm hearing a quarterly stream.
And Rocco will never look at another pixel askance again.
You just failed.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
Dave.
a fail right before it even starts. That's worse than the Solus prediction.
Now, if you had not added to beat his last record, then I might have agreed to you, because it could be something that I agree to do annually, but it certainly won't be 24 hours again.
That was more of a joke, but I enjoyed watching you beat that record anyway.
Thank you.
But my second prediction is that Pop OS, the new LTS, will come out, and it's going to have a lot of excellent features that make it more useful than it already is. But that's my predictions. I don't have too many of them. I wasn't able to come up with very many.
All right. Thomas, you made it for the prediction episode, so let's hear some good ones, dude. Wait, before you begin, have you thought about this beforehand, or are you making these up on the spot again?
A little bit, just a little bit. There's one that I've thought about for the past entirety of this stream here.
Okay.
So that's a lot of forethought for me, and that will be Pine 64 will release the Pine time, and it will have Android support on launch. And I'm not talking like the dev kit they have already or a beta. I'm talking an actual full, stable, consumer-ready release.
Okay. This year.
See, my next prediction, yes, this year, 2020.
Okay.
My next prediction is that Ubuntu 20.04 will be the best Ubuntu version of this coming year. And I got to make a prediction about Draugr OS here, just because it's my thing. Draugr OS will finally get off the wait list of Distro Watch.
He finally. Then you know you've made it, Thomas.
Didn't he did, but they did a review of Draugr OS, and I don't think they do a review unless they release it, do they?
I don't know. They did a review of it. It was on the wait list, and they did a review of something else on the wait list at the same time.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So those are my 3 big predictions.
So can you clarify the Ubuntu one, please? You said it will be. Say that again, because I didn't quite get what you were trying to say.
Ubuntu 20.04 will be the best Ubuntu release of this coming year. So,
in other words, it will be Ubuntu and Lubuntu and Kubuntu and Cinnamon. All
is that what you're trying to say?
How do I word this? Like,
because let me give you a tip, Thomas. It makes the 2004 list as an LTS because it's the best they can do.
Well, this is true, but they could also make 2010 quite a bit better if they really, really tried.
So are you saying that this Ubuntu 2004 will be better than 2010?
Yes, because like there'll be like an issue with 2010 for some odd reason, like an NVIDIA driver issue or who knows.
Okay. You're saying on launch.
Yeah, mostly on launch.
So you're saying Ubuntu is going to start emulating Windows?
So
oh God.
I would take this approach that I think they're going to experiment with something drastic in 2010 that will make 2004 the go-to release in the year 2020. Because, like, for example, they might decide to go Wayland or try Wayland again in 2010.
Sure.
Like.
All right. So it'll be the best LTS or the best release over 2010. Okay. All right. Penguin, have you thought about maybe making some predictions?
Yes, I have a few of them. The first one is Rocco will check the file system location before saving his documents. I know that's kind of a troll there, but
yeah, kind of. Just saying.
Welcome to the club. Remember that one.
The first one, yeah. The first serious one I have is NVIDIA will open source their drivers this year.
And by open sourcing that driver, are you saying that it'll be in the kernel, or it'll just be? Are you saying the whole thing will be open source, or just part of it, or how?
Yes, just like AMD has done that. Just like AMD, just open sourcing the whole thing.
Okay.
Can you clarify graphics driver, or because there are multiple NVIDIA products, and some of them are actually open
the
source.
NVIDIA graphics driver, yes.
Okay.
All right. Now, the next one is Linux will not see a major increase because of Windows 7's end of life.
Ooh, yeah. I don't like that prediction.
Define major.
Yeah.
I don't like
this
it.
Is a good one.
He's right. Yeah.
So what? So define it a little bit, Penguin.
As far as major.
Yeah, like I mean, or how like
less than 10% increase.
Okay. All right. I still don't like it, but go ahead.
I don't like it either, but I think that's what's going to happen. The next one is Microsoft will create or acquire their own Linux distribution this year.
Okay, interesting.
And then also Chrome OS will decline in market share.
Chrome OS will
decline in market share.
Oh, decline. Oh, okay. That's an interesting one.
Not sure I'd agree with that, given how much of a stronghold Chrome OS has in schools. But okay,
Tyler, it's not there for you to agree or disagree. It's his prediction, dude.
and guess what, Tyler? You get your option to make your predictions now. Oh, sorry, unless have you finished, Penguin? Or cool. So Tyler,
yeah, I'm done. That was my last one.
Over to you. What have you got for us?
All right, so I guess I'll start off with I will see Rocco at least at least one Linux conference next year.
I like that prediction. I like it.
That better come true. You better not prove me wrong on that one.
Let's hope.
I see Canonical doing something with Ubuntu 2010 since it's the first release after an LTS cycle. I foresee them giving Wayland another shot, and I think that's going to be tied in with my hopes that NVIDIA is going to open something up in their announcement in March, which happens to be the week of my birthday.
So you're setting yourself up for a fall there, because if one half of that doesn't work, you've failed the prediction, Joe. So do you want to split those into two?
Yes, there's two different predictions I'm making.
Well, when you say open up partially, I mean, like, so can you, like,
so for example, if you look at AMD, yes, we have the open source kernel driver, but certain components like OpenCL actually still rely on a proprietary driver from AMD. I could foresee if NVIDIA were to open anything up, they would open up enough or contribute enough to Nouveau to have a basic, this comes up, this runs kind of driver. It'll be compatible with Wayland. It'll work with this. But all the stuff they want to keep proprietary, all the stuff they want to keep as a secret sauce, they would have as a proprietary component that you can install after the fact.
Okay.
Interesting. Any more?
Kansas Linux Fest 2020 is going to be awesome.
Subjective, so not really a prediction, but more of a wish. Yeah, cool. Big Pod, what have you got for us?
Okay, first of all, Microsoft won't release Office for Linux. Ooh. And I am fairly certain it won't be the case in 2020. Might be 2021, but not 2020. I'm fairly certain, like 75%. Second, we will see a cloudification of desktop, at least in certain spaces outside of enterprise. What I mean by that is that at least either on public or private clouds, we will see people move their desktops from their systems to be computed on a separate machine.
So people will just do more cloud-based compute?
Yeah, cloud-based, specifically cloud-based desktop compute.
Oh, okay.
I don't see that there will be like a full-blown adoption of that, but certain people outside of fully enterprise will move to that paradigm. And with that, desktops or desktop operating system won't matter that much anymore.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So can you give me an example of where I could do that now? Because I haven't got a Scooby.
A lot of companies do that to actually, like, they have the company laptops. They're just weak machines. Then they have, when you go to work, you plug in a cable and you log in onto a desktop, and it's actually a desktop on the server somewhere in the closet. And one of the things Microsoft is pushing is one of the Azure services virtual desktop, which basically does that in the cloud.
Okay, I've never seen that. And
actually,
we're really heavy into Azure and 360 and Skype and all
it's
that.
It's a new service. Okay. But the virtualization of a desktop on a separate machine is actually quite a used thing in enterprise. It's called VDI, Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. And actually, this is a kind of a self-prediction because I'm actually going to be working on that for in my school. So I'll be working on that heavily in coming year. And third prediction, if nothing else, I will be making more than 5 videos on YouTube, which is a serious hope for me, but seeing how productive I am now, I don't see it happening.
It's a goal. And a good goal.
Yeah. I had one more, but it just escaped my mind. Let me think.
Well, when you remember it, put it on Discord.
Just remembered it.
Okay.
Gaming it's in line with my second prediction. Gaming will be going a lot more in the cloud. So, or at least we won't be using a lot our primary machines, or either cloud like Stadia or something like Steam in-home streaming. So it won't really matter what desktop you're running, because anyway you'll be able to run any game. So I don't see Proton really taking off because of that.
Okay, quick question on that one then, because if you're going to stream in-home gaming,
yeah, if you
you're
have
going to use a desktop to do it.
Yeah, but it won't be like you could play on a weak laptop or even an ARM laptop, for example. You could play a Windows game that's running on Windows. I do it nowadays. I have a VM on my server that is running a game, and I can play it really, really well on my laptop. And my laptop's not even shipped up a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so you think that's going to increase?
That's going to increase, and because of that, Proton will kind of have a stunted growth.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Well, Vince, what have you got to tell us?
Well, a couple of mine are actually follow-ons from what Penguin Revolution and Big Pod were just saying. I too had a prediction about the Linux market share. My prediction will be that the Linux market share will jump to 5%. All right. I'm going out on a limb there.
5.
Yeah,
hold 5%. You to it.
What?
Write it down.
But I don't think it's going to be like what Penguin Revolution said. It's not going to be an avalanche. It's just an ongoing slow trickle, I think. But I think it'll hit 5% by year end next year. I also like the idea of what Big Pod was saying with virtual desktops. I was been thinking about this, and it's something that Microsoft have done really well for businesses for a long time with remote desktops. And this flows on to my next prediction, which is I too think that Canonical might get taken over by somebody, but it might not be what everyone is thinking. I'm thinking actually Amazon, because Amazon already have a virtual desktop type thing going with Amazon Workspaces. And I think that with something like a Canonical under their belt, they might be able to push that even further and make a play for that market. I have another prediction that Arch will continue to rationalize their install, so it'll basically become LFS, but with package management. And probably a highly detailed, but just a worsely written wiki. On a personal note, I think that a certain Belgian in our community will convince me to do a Gen 2 install. I won't say who it is, but he might be able to convince me to do one.
Right.
Gen 2 isn't as hard as people think it is, but it is pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's boring as all get out, but it's not that hard.
It's only hard if you're doing a stage 1.
It's a rite of
maybe
passage.
During the winter.
Yeah.
Maybe during the winter, like he says, if I need some heating.
It isn't that problematic, as people say. One day and you're finished.
Well, thank you, Vince. Dave, what have you got for us?
Nothing. No.
Next.
I think the Linux community, the gathering of Linux communities and their visibility in the world will continue to grow. And I think two of the leading forces behind that growth will be the BDLL network, thanks to Rocco and his tireless work, and the Destination Linux network that is growing at an amazing rate and just doing amazing things. I think that this year, in response to Self and what was done there, forces will gather and find a way to get Rocco to OG Camp in 2020. And on a personal note, I'm going to put it out there that I'm going to try somehow, some way to find a topic and time and understanding to put out my first YouTube video.
Yes.
Good.
I love it.
Look forward to it.
Make sure you tell everybody. Don't
About
keep it a
what?
secret.
Yeah.
Whatever video it is.
What video?
Exactly.
He's forgotten already. Well, yeah. So Dave, I hope you do that, because there are so many people in here that have such great knowledge that it's a shame that they don't put out more videos, and you are in that boat. You have so much knowledge about Arch and about all of your experiences that you could definitely help people. And we're going to go through some of the YouTube channels by people in here, because there's many. And we're going to announce some people who you may not know have a YouTube channel, and maybe some that are new. So
I think for me is I look at it as how much is already out there. And it's like, do I really want to add to the noise? And does
but here's the thing,
I can offer positive things, but is what I have to offer positive enough to warrant adding to the noise?
It does not have to be positive enough. If we were discussing maybe you were going to put a YouTube channel out that was going to focus on, say, a Linux review, I might even tend to agree that there's a lot of channels out there that already do Linux reviews. But you have something to give just by your experiences, and that will end up helping people, regardless if you think so or not, even if it helps just a few people, to give them a tip on how you did this, or how you did your Arch install, or little tips or tricks here and there. Those are the things that really end up helping people. Not in like this, you're not going to get 5 million views for that. But the views that you do get are going to be meaningful and actually help people.
I'd be shocked if I got 5 views, be real.
You would get more than that.
No, you'll get much more than that. Because the difficulty is, and this is the only tip I can give you, and I never do it myself, is just think of a section of Linux that you found particularly difficult, but that you now understand, and explain in your own terminology, not geek speak, in your own terminology, how and why you now understand it. And it's those types of things that I don't think we see enough of. And I always really enjoy those ones that Eric Adams puts out there, because he's been putting out some nice little snippets. They're only like 4 or 5 minute videos, maybe 7 minutes, but it's those bits of priceless bits of information of how they overcome a particular problem. And I think, Dave, that's where you could score big.
Zeb, one question. What if my terminology is geek speak?
Then please don't bother. Sorry.
No, even that I think will help. There's always somebody who speaks your language, basically, who understands how
who
you
can
understand.
Translate it, yeah.
And I think that the most important thing is to actually get up and do it. It's, stop thinking about, well, I could do it this way or I could do it that way. Just do it and put it out there, and people will watch it. And you can perfect it along the way. If you want to have everything perfect before you start, you may not ever start. But I think definitely have something to give, and definitely people will be affected by that. So.
Now, that is something I learned when I first started, was, it's not going to be perfect. As a matter of fact, my first few videos sucked. So, I mean, you just have to get out there and do it. And really, you're not necessarily going to get a lot of views, but right now I'm getting more views than I thought I would at this point. I've only been doing it for about a month and a half. So people will come if you make the videos.
Yep. All right, like I said, we'll get into everybody's YouTube channel, but we're going to continue on with the predictions. Bill, sir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Rocket?
I'm doing excellent. Did you think of any predictions for 2020?
Yeah, I'm not sure that you want to hear them, though.
I may not want to hear them, Bill, but they're your predictions, dude. You can be wrong if you want.
Okay. My first prediction is that you're going to see a much larger Chromebook, Chrome OS integration into the enterprise. On that same note, you're going to see better integration on Chrome OS with Linux applications than there already is. And my other prediction is that GUI applications will work on WSL 2 in 2020.
Ooh. Whoa. Okay. I don't really care for them, Bill.
No, I don't think you would, but I really think so you're going to have Windows 7 dropping. You have Google increasing the lifespan of Chromebooks. And you also have a very well done Linux integration now for developers and for cloud sysadmins on the Chromebook. And you're going to see the same thing with WSL. And I think what you're going to actually see is you're going to be a smaller market share for Mac OS. So maybe that's a positive.
Okay. I guess that's a positive. All right.
Okay. You going to carry on, Lockup, or shall I take Chris?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Chris, welcome. And what are your predictions for us? You're muted, Chris, or you haven't got your mic set up, mate. No, still nothing. We'll come back to you in a second, Chris. See if you can get it sorted out, mate. Ah, that's better. There you go.
Had the wrong mic selected. Okay. That's what I get for missing the pre-show. Anyway, let's see. I got one serious prediction here. I predict that we're going to see the end of Moore's Law. We are getting to the point where we can't slice the silicon any thinner without losing integrity of it. So I think the doubling of speed, doubling of power is going to end in 2020. And pretty much what we have is going to be state of the art, pretty close to the end of the year. There might be some different ways of integration that may eke out a couple more megahertz or gigahertz. Well, I don't even think gigahertz, but might eke out a little bit more speed here and there. But I think what we're seeing right now is pretty much the cap of a silicon-based computer. What's coming next is the quantum, if they can get the quantum based computing anywhere near reliable, which is what the problem is right at the moment.
Question, Chris, didn't I hear something that they're going to start trying to make computer chips out of some other product?
Yeah, they haven't found something that's going that works better than silicon though. And
right, gotcha. Actually, yes, they have. It was much more efficient. I don't remember what it's called, but they have found something else.
But
it's just a more expensive.
To manufacture a chip on that is just not been there. It's not ready for prime time. It's waiting in the wings, but they still have a ways to go on it before they can put the die on there and get it actually to work the way they want it to.
Cool.
But the something that's a little less serious is I predict that Tony's going to find a way to look in a time warp and be able to pull out what the next BDLL challenge is a week ahead of time. He's going to have it all set up and written up. And also something semi-serious is I'm actually going to get off my butt and start producing video again. But I'm going to run into problem with Copa probably because God knows I haven't protected my channel against that.
All right. Steve, welcome. And what are your predictions?
Good evening, everybody. I was gonna, Dave kind of said it. I was gonna say that the community as a whole is going to be a lot more tighter. We're going to see a lot of good things coming out of it, as we already have in this last year since I've been a part of it. It's been an amazing ride, and that alone, it won't greatly, increase any Linux use, but as people out there see that there are decent people having a good time with a alternative operating system, they may end up trying it too. I definitely don't see a big increase from Windows 7. We're going to see people just using it like they did XP for another year or two before they definitely have to get into something else. I predict Vince may cure his addiction to streaming, but you're going to see more of Vince, I think, with his little videos. It's going to be cool. I don't have any major, what NVIDIA and that's going to do kind of thing. I just think that we're going to continue on this nice community ride and enjoy ourselves with what we enjoy in Linux.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed.
Stephen? Are you there?
Hey, guys.
Hi.
What's happening?
Hey, I've actually been watching you guys for about a year and a half, and I keep intending to jump in, and I just haven't. So today I decided to make it happen.
I'm glad you did.
The last episode of the year. I love it.
You'll be here more often
nothing
next
like
year.
procrastination. I do have 3 items for predictions. The first is that Arch-based distros will become more popular and begin to make a dent in the Debian distro dominance, Debian-based distro dominance.
Okay, what sort of percentage are we looking at here? Because that's a bit vague at the moment.
It is vague, yeah. I would say that we will see as many Arch-based distros in the top 10 of DistroWatch as we do Debian-based.
Whoa,
that may be a bit out there, but yeah.
No, that's a measurable factor. Yeah, yeah.
Go big or go home,
like
right? The second one is there will be another distro besides MX or Manjaro to reach the top of the distro watch list.
That's only if people can get hold of the bot.
Yeah, true. And my third prediction, which is just a kind of cynical one, but we will see a lot more meaningless distros that pop up, mostly based on Ubuntu, which offer no more than a new theme and some different installed packages. More so than we already do.
But let's hope that that's not true, because then that stifles future developers coming through.
Oh, sure. It's not something that I wish for. It's just something I think will happen.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a given. Nice one.
So, Eric, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can. You're a little on the soft side, but
okay,
that's all right. Yeah, that's better.
Do you mean my voice or?
Yeah.
This is my welcome back, huh? Okay.
Yeah, we've missed you. So, what are your 2020 predictions?
Well,
that you can.
I have one silly one and 2 real ones, and I'll let you decide which is which. Peppermint's going to put out a plasma version.
Wow.
Ooh. That ain't happening now.
Bold.
Don't
Well,
worry about that
I don't
one.
know. Mark Greaves is in the chat. Maybe we can get some confirmation.
Yeah, I've been talking to Mark. We're going to work on
it. He's got some inside.
Yeah, you know.
I got some influence on that one.
The other one, and this is kind of vague and very subjective, but I really think that the Ubuntu 2004 releases are going to be pretty amazing, simply because of the fact that it's an LTS release, and I've seen so much good out of 1910, especially with hardware support with things like NVIDIA Optimus. And all of the downstream releases that base themselves on LTSs by the end of the year will likely be based on 2004. And all of the issues I've had running those on the 1804 LTS base should basically disappear. So I'm really looking forward to a fantastic year of being able to run probably just about anything that's based on an LTS.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think I'm going to agree with you on that one, because prior to that, my best year was 2014, and I think 2020 is going to eclipse that.
Yeah, I just get the sense, and I've been testing some of the dailies for some of them, and just small tweaks, and I really think that's going to be a huge benefit, because so much is based on Ubuntu, and particularly the LTS, that's just going to trickle down. And so yeah, we're going to have a great year with that next year. And then one of the people in this this session right now, I believe they're going to end up on the OpenSUSE board.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good prediction there. I like that.
Yeah, we love that one. We can get behind that.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah. So, and also, I guess another prediction for that same person is I said this, and it may not be next year, but given his expertise in the lighting that he's done this year, I'm going to guess that people are going to start asking him to do that on a serious basis, because that video, if you haven't seen it, it made my Christmas. That was pretty darn good.
It is amazing.
Yep.
I have another one to put up today. So
you re-recorded, did you?
No. It's another sequence. Another sequence.
Oh, I see. Right, gotcha. Because I thought you said you sent me a message the other day saying, "Oh, I was going to record it, but I fell asleep."
So all you need to do is find that neighborhood where all the guys that have way too many toys and way too much money, and they try to outdo each other all the time. And look at my new car and my new. Did you happen to notice my light show this year? And Nate, I think if you get in on that.
What I think would be fun is if somehow like the city that I live in, my little small like half horse town, if they said, "Hey, we kind of like that. Maybe we could do our there's like a center part of town, but they have like a lit Christmas tree." I think it'd be fun to enhance that a little bit. That's what I think would be fun. So
that's all right. What I got.
I like those predictions. And I actually hope that happens for Nate, because if that's something, man, if you could put that as a job and say, "Hey, I'm doing this, and it involves Linux," that is pretty awesome. So,
that would be a fun little side hustle for sure.
Yeah, that would be. All right, we have some predictions from the YouTube chat. And I'm just going to go down the list here. PZ and Nate, if you want to help me out, then we'll just go one by one. Skylar predicts that next year we will see a full Office 365 suite from Microsoft. So that's possible, I guess, but very high hopes.
Mm-hmm.
And the next prediction he has is, I predict that GNOME will make great improvements with better memory management and lower footprint in RAM.
Haha.
Actually, I think that actually might happen, because they are already making those improvements now.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me. The Lamer Linux. My prediction is, since Microsoft Teams came to Linux, Microsoft will release Microsoft Office 365 and not the web app, a full-on program. Also, Proton will get better and a lot of games will run, I guess that was meant to say.
And from Ken Stauffer, says, I predict that you, Big Daddy Linux, will install a new Linux distro perfectly, and you'll be so happy with it that you'll be on it full time.
Well, that's already done, Ken. So you already won. You've already made that prediction, and it's good, because I'm on Pop OS, and this is where it's going to stay. Right, Tony? No comment. Simple Tech says all of 5 people will buy the Librem 5 in 100 years in an alternative reality.
Wow.
That's a little harsh, but
wow.
And one from the Ferron OS, Plasma will get major improvements for its theme control center modules, areas, UX in 2020. Now, he's got a bit of insider information on this because Ferron OS is one of those youngsters that we were talking about that's getting more heavily involved. I mean, he's been there since he was about 13 years old, I think. But I think he's on a bit of a cheat here because he's actually developing that UI for them.
Right. Yeah, he's a KDE developer. So
yeah. Bit of self-prediction there.
Cheater.
All right. So CWM030, is that a Motorola processor? The 030? His prediction, the Mate desktop will finally change away from that ugly green theme. And then they'll go from we'll get a dark or black theme. But what's wrong with that green theme?
Yeah,
that's not the Mate desktop, is it? Isn't that that's Ubuntu Mate, right?
Ubuntu, I have a feeling that the regular Ubuntu is going to go with the green theme, given the new desktop lead.
I think that will end up confusing Barbara's cats.
I think CW's purpose was to say Ubuntu Mate, I think, if I'm mistaken.
Okay.
Rulon says Arch and Arch-based distros will see a significant uptick in usage. Okay. Goes along with Stevens.
Sounds interesting. Now, Mark Greaves has got an interesting one, and I think both Rocco and I would enjoy this. ICDoc will release a PCIe 4 dock for the M2 NVMe drives that ejects properly.
You lost me, okay? So I could see them releasing a dock for the M.2, and I would love that. Ejecting properly is not going to happen, Mark. Sorry.
Is it Schuler? Is that saying his right name correctly? Skyler.
Schuler?
Oh, what do I know? Sure. He predicts that free IPA and Linux administration will get easier for system administrators and easier for businesses to migrate from Microsoft. I don't know what any of that means, but okay, let's go for it.
Big one. I think it will take a lot to push Microsoft away from the business arena. I know Linux is killing it on the server side of things, but there's too many people who still rely on Microsoft products out there.
Especially like XP, believe it or not.
All right, Dan Simmons has two. So his first one says, Big Daddy Linux will be on Linux Spotlight not as a host, but as a guest. I don't know.
I like that one.
I don't think that's going to happen because if my math is correct, that probably won't happen until 2021.
2021, yeah. Oh, wait on a minute. He's got a bit of insider information there, but yeah, he's probably right.
He also says Valve will launch a streaming service similar to Stadia.
Ooh.
That's a nice one.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll do these one each, Nate, because Chip says, I've got two predictions. Number one, MX Linux and or Linux Mint gaining popularity from Windows 7 end of life.
And his number two is Chip showing his face and sharing Manjaro enthusiasm on Biddle. Laugh out loud. Well, where is he?
Chip
he could just pop in.
Chip has been around since the very beginning of Biddle, and he's been on Biddle like he was on Biddle, but he never had his camera on. So I'm hoping in 2020 we get to actually meet Chip because he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Tempcore said that Linux Spotlight, Linus Torvalds episode. Calling it now.
Ooh.
Maybe. You
That'd
never know.
Great.
Who knows? I don't think somebody like Linus would want to be on Linux Spotlight, but who knows? You never know. Maybe we'll ask him and see what he says.
I was going to say, you have to ask him first, Rocco, because what's the worst he can say? No?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, so he could just curse you out, over an email.
I want to see what he says when you say, so when did you first hear of Linux?
I might have to tweak the question a little bit for him, Eric.
Yeah.
Just saying.
What do you think of NVIDIA?
When did you first hear of GNU?
I've actually seen him on a channel, like get interviewed. That not important which one, but not a very big channel, a kind of a smaller dude. And I think you are a superior interviewer. So I think that is a possibility. And if you don't send him an email or keep sending him emails, I'm going to be disappointed, Rocco.
Okay, I'll send him an email. See what he says.
So what you're saying, Nate, is everyone here needs to send Linus an email about it.
Ooh,
that's
just
not a bad
spam
idea.
him.
He might then really not ever get on the show, but
let's start with just Rocco first. This way we don't, we don't want to take him off.
Yeah.
Or scare him away.
I don't think he'd be scared.
So Ron Singh predicts that Big Daddy Linux will be able to get Popey, Clement, and Greaves and that Marty guy in a bar to discuss a flavor of Ubuntu-based distro to get hardware folks to bundle with their offerings. I think I read that wrong. I didn't get what he was on about. So he's going to get 4 big developers in a bar to discuss an Ubuntu-based distro to get hardware folks to bundle with their offerings.
Well, the first is to get all 4 of those guys together would be the really true feat. So
I think Clement, is it Clement? Is he talking about Clement? Clem. Yeah. And then I'm assuming he wants the big boys to start shipping Linux on hardware.
Yep.
It'd be nice. Then Leviticus says Google Fuchsia will debut.
What's that?
That is it's the alternative to Android that Google's been working on now for a couple of years. They want to replace Android. Apparently, it's a Google thing. Sometimes they go someplace, sometimes they don't. They actually have competing products within.
He could have actually put, we'll debut on the Librem 5, and then we could have all chuckled.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Those are the 2020 predictions. So we'll see where they go. Next year. Go ahead, Zeb.
You're going, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Carry on. I was going to say, everybody in the group here, don't forget, you've got to jump onto Discord and type out your predictions because we haven't captured any of them.
Can I add one more?
You can add any amount you want, Dave.
In honor of Rose, who's in a lot of the Telegram groups, who keeps bringing it up, some developer this year is going to resurrect Hannah Montana Linux and give it a new life.
That's a hope.
Yeah, that's a hope. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, you never know. There have been some worse predictions.
I'll add a prediction. It won't be Michael Tunnell.
I didn't give my predictions actually, so I'm just going to give them like real quick. So my prediction is Canonical will not be sold to anybody.
I like it.
You probably won't like the rest of them. Microsoft will not give us Microsoft Office in any form.
Mm-hmm.
Adobe will not give us any of their products in any form. And NVIDIA will not open source their driver.
Wow.
I agree with you on that one.
All 3 of them all 3 of them are very negative, but either way, no matter what, with all of this, the Linux community will thrive regardless of all of those obstacles. Just saying.
Well, that's the positive. I like that. I like how you just give a little positive cherry on that. That was nice.
So those are our 2020 predictions. If you have any you want to tell us about, put them in the discourse. You can put them in Telegram, and we'll talk about them. They may be crazy, like some of these guys' predictions. They may be not. Some of them were really good. I do like the whole Steam releasing a streaming service like Stadia. That is something that would be totally awesome. But there you go. There's the predictions. Right now, I'd like to go into something that we talk about all the time. And Dave, you mentioned it about creating videos. and it's people's YouTube channel. And there are people in here that have YouTube channels, and what I'm going to do is I am going to copy and paste some of the links to these YouTube channels that you may already know and put that in the YouTube chat. Hopefully that comes out formatted. Anyway, Zeb, if you can post them in there, because I don't think it's going to work for me here.
Yep. Okay. You carry on chatting about them. Yep.
PZ has a channel where he puts out content that he wants to put out. And I think that's the most important thing when creating a YouTube channel. Don't feel you have to put out content of a certain kind, or you won't get enough views, or I have to do this. What you have to do is do what you love to do. That's the most important thing, and that's what people will relate to. PZ puts out trucking videos. He has fun doing it, and he would do it regardless if nobody watched.
Get me some water.
If nobody watched, he'd still do it, and I think that is the key. Cubicle Nate has a YouTube channel, and those links will be going in there. He does videos that he enjoys doing. He did the Christmas video on there with the lights. He did unboxing of things maybe you didn't even know about. They are kind of like his blog, where it's what he enjoys, and that is pretty awesome. Nate?
It's just kind of like whatever I'm doing right now. I don't have a specific focus. I'm not all Linux. Like my one of my favorite things, which got hardly any views, but I'm probably most proud of it, was my getting the Commodore 64 on the IRC, going in the Big Daddy Linux Live IRC chat room and chatting with people like Bill, and whatever. Just how do you get like a 36-year-old computer on the internet doing modern-ish things, and I thought that was fun. So,
yep,
yeah, just do whatever.
Also, people that you would know, Eric Adams has a YouTube channel, and he does the exact same thing. He puts out videos on things that relate to him, that he has had issues with, and those are perfect because those videos help people that are having those same exact issues. I guarantee you there are people searching YouTube for those specific issues. And like I said, they may not get 5 million views, but they will help the people that are looking for that. And I think, Dave, that's a perfect example of a channel that is helping people, is Eric's channel.
Definitely agree on that one.
Steve, his very own, has his own channel, and he does community chats, and he puts out distro reviews. And this is another channel where you can go to and get some camaraderie. You can get some good chat, and it's not even always about Linux. It's just about having a good talk and being a community together. Now, those are some of the ones that you may know, but there are other ones that are new and that are coming out. Vince has his own channel, and he has been doing a few videos on. Okay, and here's another example of a guy who has a lot of knowledge about stuff that should be making more videos. This is something that I look at, and I know that I would not be able to put that video together of the videos he puts out, because
that's debatable.
He puts these videos out, and he talks about them in an intelligent way and explains them in a down-to-earth way so that you can understand it, and that is perfect. It's not fluff. It's not, hey, flashy things. It's stuff to help you. So I suggest you go check his out. His link will be in the YouTube chat. Penguin also has his channel, Alan. Pretty new channel as well. Alan, what is your channel going to be about?
Well, I've been basically doing a lot of distro reviews. I do some tutorials, as well as I cover some news stories as well on it for tech and Linux as well. So it's pretty much a little of everything right now. Right now, I'm planning on covering the development of Ubuntu 20.04. As a matter of fact, that video should be coming out tonight, so at least the first one. So that's something I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks.
All right. And the last one I want to mention, and if I've forgotten anybody, please let me know. But the last one I want to mention is Vash. Vash just started his own YouTube channel and put out a video about Manjaro. And, well, I'll let you tell it, Vash. What did you put out, dude?
Well, ultimately, I put out a video about, the default way that I usually take screenshots and why. Showed how to do that with FlameShot. And then there's also a fix with some screen tearing in OBS and Manjaro. So I've discovered another issue with that I have to figure out. But I was working on one today about Vert Manager in Manjaro, but I'm having an issue with the actual virtual machines. So that's what I got to figure out next before I can actually continue on with that.
So this is another channel that you should be subscribing to and supporting. And again, I will say to everybody here, just put out the videos, because don't worry about if they're perfect. Don't worry about anything other than just doing it. Because if you think about it too much, you won't put it out. So I think everybody can learn from them and grow with each of us. So definitely.
Rocco,
Big Pod. Sorry, just a quickie before we go on. You carry on a bit because we can do Big Pod afterwards.
Sorry, I just had one more, and he's not here tonight. But Colin, PC TLC, Zeb, if you want to throw his in there, he does some really great breakdowns, particularly following along with the Biddle challenges, but just in general. And there's just something about his style of watching him go through it that is, it kind of reminds me of Steve. Like, it's just a very honest, straightforward, hey, this is me checking it out, no pretense. He's not worried about gaffes and making mistakes. And I've gone back and watched some of his older ones and really enjoyed them as well. So just wanted to make sure we got him in there.
Yep. Good shot.
And he sings really well too. We just found that out.
But yeah, that's the thing I like about Colin's videos. He's not scared of making a mistake on the video and then showing you his thought process to get it right. Because he said, I was doing it like this, and he shows you exactly what he's doing. He said, but I realized that was wrong. And he goes back over it, and that's fantastic. But yeah, we've forgotten our friend Big Pod, who also does some YouTube videos. So tell us about those, Big Pod.
I am trying to do videos. Sometimes I make them, sometimes I fail them and not upload them. Sometimes I forget to make them. But I'm trying to make servery videos for servers and server admins. So just people who wanna automate some stuff using either a server machine or VM that is running as a server. And for example, I did a video on how to make Arch, use Arch repository, your own Arch repository. But my most successful videos were about Manjaro Architect Edition. This is probably my favorite installer.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yep. So definitely check out those channels, subscribe to them, and support them. Hey, JJ made it right at the last minute.
Very funny.
JJ, you have any predictions for 2020? You want to get in?
Microsoft Office coming to Linux, making Linux mainstream, and also possibly the first mainstream Linux stack if Linux becomes popular enough.
You want to clarify how Microsoft will be coming, or doesn't matter?
Well,
like Snap or online or what?
I mean, Microsoft already has online, but that's only through Chrome. I'm just saying that since they got the ball rolling with Teams, it's going to be eventuality that Office will come to Linux through a similar mechanism that Teams was created.
Okay. All right. Before we end it, does anybody have anything they want to put out there?
Yeah, I would like to say something about my prediction about Office. My opinion is that Office won't be coming to Linux, at least not full client, because I hear things about Office being rewritten in a couple of years, especially now that they're doing a lot of Rust. And because of that, I don't think it will happen in 2020, but later on, yes, they will then consider putting Linux version out as well. But what I see that might happen is we might get an Electron app that will act as a sort of Office, basically being a port of Office Online to work on desktop. But full Office, not a chance in 2020.
Big Pod. Sorry. Would you go along and say that maybe full Visual Studio might come to Linux too, possibly?
I really wish, but no. I know why. It's because of how it is built. It would require again a full rewrite, just like Office, and a lot of it is Windows-only components that are closed-sourced and will probably never get ported to Linux because they're already either forgotten or not actively developed against. So they have no logic to actually port them. And in my opinion, all of this software will require a full rewrite, which will happen probably in a couple of years because they're like this next year or 2019, 2020, they are researching a lot into Rust and how they can replace certain components with Rust. So I think that will be a reason why they will put out Linux versions. And if I remember correctly, their next version of .NET, the .NET 5, still won't have a desktop framework for Linux, but later on they are thinking about it. At least that's what I heard.
Okay, so you have connections in the inside.
No, I don't have connections. I read things on internet and I make connections from that. And what I hear from, like, I watch a lot of Microsoft events, so I pull strands from that.
Windows Weekly also, possibly?
No, I mainly watch Microsoft, big Microsoft events like MS Build and what they put out on Ignite and stuff like that.
All right. That is going to wrap it up for us. We are out of time. But I would leave you with one thought for maybe next week. Maybe we can talk about is for 2020. What are the things that you think we can do better in Linux as a community to make 2020 better than 2019? So we'll talk about that maybe next week. Oh my gosh, we forgot a distro challenge. So
yes,
we have to have a distro challenge. Are you guys okay with doing what we talked about last week? Was Tramjaro?
I've been hoping, since we've been doing the Ubuntu's, to do Fedora 31 at some point.
I agree with Tyler.
Yeah, Fedora 31 should
like it's been out for a couple months now.
When's the last time we did Fedora?
Fedora 29.
Yeah.
What about Silverblue?
Yeah, we've done that recently.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, because I did actually try the other one, and I wasn't real impressed with it, so I'd rather go with Fedora.
Are we doing just workstation, or can we try any of the spins as well?
Oh, any flavor you want, I think.
Okay, because there are. I did that article on Big Daddy Linux. There's a blog post on taking it for a spin. So there's all the different desktops you'd want to try.
And we're back to the 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Good.
Right.
All right. If we don't have no major objections to that, Fedora 31 will be our distro challenge for the next 2 weeks.
And there's a little tip that if you
with me.
If you grab the net installer, which is also called the server installer, you can install any of the desktop environments that you'd like, whether it's regular GNOME or Cinnamon or KDE, whatever you want is going to be in there.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Fedora calls them spins. So if you
Yeah.
go to other downloads, you can go to the various spins and
yeah, you can go to spins.fedora.org.
I'm good with Fedora. I just wanted to throw out two things just to plant seeds for future options. So Farron just put out his latest release.
Yeah,
and then
Farron OS definitely, yeah.
Endeavor just put out their net installer as well, which is pretty good. So
All right. Those are our predictions. Fedora 31 is our distro challenge for the next 2 weeks.
Hey, Rocco, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Eric just mentioned the Endeavor guys, and I know people watch the channel and watch the videos. I don't know if they go to Discourse, and you had Brian from Endeavor come and put this great post in about how much this show and the people on it helped them in the development of Endeavor. So I think that's a great statement for Brian to come back and let us know. But it's also a statement of how good things can really come out of this show.
Yep, agreed. But I think that's a credit to people like Brian.
Rocco.
No, that's a credit to people like Brian who actually take the time to come on a show and talk to people who are collectively getting together and talking about their distro. So that doesn't happen for every distro we try. That doesn't happen for every development community that we try. So it's a credit to those guys that actually take the time to do it, like Daniel Forey and Cassidy James did. Alan Pope was here when we did Ubuntu.
Manjaro guys.
Yeah, the Manjaro guys
and
were
Eric
here.
from Studio.
Yep. So those are the guys that should get that credit. And that was a great post by Brian, and I think everybody should go read it because it shows how much it does actually mean. So great point there, Bill. All right. I think that's all we got. Okay. Yeah. All right, PZ, last word, brother.
I'd like to end the year by thanking each and every one of the people who turns up here week in, week out to come and discuss their love for Linux. Everybody who takes part in the YouTube chat, because you might not have your face on the video, but your voice is heard in the community. And of course, none of this would be possible without the amazing, astounding, astonishing person that is Rocco. So thank you very, very much, Rocco.
Stop it. Nate, last word, brother.
Chris.
Well, I want to thank you again for starting this community, for bringing people like Zeb and Eric on and Dan and everybody else who really is a huge contributor and keeps this machine running. And I've really enjoyed, all of you here, just being here and like hanging out with you on the weekends. And so really, I want to thank everyone here. I'm not going to do all your names, but, for being here and actually making my, just kind of the icing on the cake and making a week great. So I wish you all a happy new year and a merry 4th day of Christmas if you subscribe to that. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
And also check out Nate and Eric's podcast, DLN Extend.
DLN Extend. I do like it. Yeah. We have to, Eric, we got to record one, by the way.
We'll sneak one more in.
And I do want to mention that Dan Simmons, who normally helps out every week and does help out in the Telegram group and behind the scenes every week, is feeling under the weather. He was in YouTube chat. I don't know if he still is, but thank you, Dan, for all of the work. Tony, last word.
I will, rather than repeat what's already been said, I'll just agree with what Zeb and Cubicle Nate said. Special thanks to you, Rocco. I've not been here for a full year yet, but the time I have spent here, I've thoroughly enjoyed. It's really nice that everybody here has made me feel welcome. And I really do look forward to it every week, so that's good. I've got one slight complaint, though.
Do it.
You didn't give me enough time to do anything with the Distro Challenge. Again, that's 2 weeks on the trot. That's got to stop.
I apologize, Tony. We normally would get to that earlier in the show, which would give you plenty of time, but we figured we'd shake it up for you at the end of the year.
Yeah, thanks. I thought perhaps you would. By the way, just out of a point of interest, I'm actually on Pop OS.
Wow.
I've been on it for 4 days. Today is actually the 5th day.
Wow.
That is a record for you, dude, ain't?
So that is good. And I don't know, I can see what you see in it, I think, because it really does work well. And it's just polished and it's easy to theme and everything seems to be working okay. So who knows?
Maybe that'll be your main distro. I predict Pop OS might be Tony's main distro for 2020.
You may well be on a winner there. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a happy new year and be safe.
Very nice. Vash, last word, brother.
Thanks for the stream as always, Rocco, and Happy New Year, everybody. We will see if it is indeed the year of the Linux desktop, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Derek Graham, last word.
Oh, as Nate said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year for those that subscribe to it. I am on Pop OS again myself, and we'll see how long I last on it. Hopefully I last for a while because I'm enjoying it. But have a good rest of the year.
All right. Thomas, last word.
Well, I'm going to echo what Zeb and Nathan said. Thank you, Rocco, for starting this community. Little over a year ago, before I joined this community, I knew of like 2-3 people who used Linux. And being able to come on here and nerd out with a bunch of other people who are also nerds, it's great. It's a lot of fun. And being able to find a community like this that shares a passion of yours is something that not a lot of people get, and finding it is something that you have to cherish, and I cherish being able to be a part of this community. So thank you for making this community. Thank you for letting me come onto this stream almost every week. Thank you for letting me be the awkward nuisance I am. And here's to another year of shameless plugs of Draugr OS.
I was going to say, you nearly forgot it there.
We love you, Thomas. Thank you for being here, brother. And very well said. Very well said. Because that's what it's all about. Alan, last word.
Well, thank you, Rocco, for creating this show, this community. I've really enjoyed my first month here. And everyone, you have a great and happy New Year.
All right. Tyler, last word.
Great 2019. Looking forward to 2020. Looking forward to the conferences in 2020 because I definitely plan on going to a few.
That's a shock, Tyler.
Right. Looking forward to playing with Fedora 31 a bit more the next couple of weeks. Won't be here next weekend. Already have obligations, but the following weekend, I'm looking forward to talking about Fedora.
Very nice. Big Pod, last word, brother.
First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Then I'd like to thank each and every one of you for accepting me in this community, because this is, well, a bit of a second year in Linux, and you guys really did help me at least start to understand Linux, and with that, it opened the door for me to actually become who I am when it comes to this community of BDLL and Derek's DitroTubes community, where both of them are the reason I enjoy Linux as much as I do now. Because if there wouldn't be these two communities, I would probably give up and suffer on Windows.
Very nice. Vince, last word.
So if 2018 was the year of the Linux desktop for me, then 2019, this past year, is definitely the year of the Big Daddy Linux. And I'm sticking by that. Yep. I've so enjoyed spending time with all you guys. Thank you, Rocco, and all those behind the scenes. And I really, truly do miss you guys when there happens to be a week where I've got my priorities crossed, Rocco, and I can't make it. I miss you guys. So thank you so very much. I look forward to seeing you guys next year.
Very nice. Dave, last word.
Thank you, Rocco. Thank you, Zeb, and everybody else who works behind the scenes to keep this going. Like everybody says, thank you all for making this a place that is welcoming and home. And I will see you next week.
Very nice. Bill, last word.
Thank you, Rocco, for everything. And thanks, Zeb, for the sacrifices you made yesterday. That was crazy going in a different time than watching that. A couple things that were missed. So it was Christmas, and for Christmas, Rocco gave us a Linux Spotlight with Emma Marshall from System 76. And that is one of, along with Jill, one of the happiest, nicest people in this community. And please give that a listen. And on that note, Rocco, you didn't make an announcement for this week's Linux Spotlight.
I didn't get there yet. I got a lot to talk about too. Yes, that was a great episode. Chris, last word.
Just want to mention a couple things. On Tuesday, December 31st, Eastern time, by the way, at about 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon, again in Eastern. My Ham Radio Club will be over at the American Radio Relay League. We'll be operating W1AW, the big guns there. Those of you who are ham radio operators and want to say hi, look for us on 40 meters and 20 meters and 17 meters. We usually get a lot of hits that way. The other thing is Derek is doing a patrons chat tomorrow at 10 o'clock East Central, I think it is. And so come on over. If you're a patron of his channel, you can join in with the chat. Otherwise, you can be part of the audience on the live chat. So with that, I want to say Happy New Year to all. And it's been I don't know, it's only been a few months since I've been actively involved with the community here with the BDLL, and I'm enjoying it, and I look forward to being around for the next year. With that, last word I have is period.
Steve, last word.
Thanks for the kind words earlier, Rocco. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's support that's been showing up on my channel and and in my streams. Vince especially. We enable his addiction in streams. I look forward to this next year, and I hope everybody enjoys a happy and safe new year. Thank you.
Steven, last word, brother.
I just want to say, guys, thanks for having me on. Thanks, Rocco, Zeb, and Eric, and all the other guys who are involved in the channel and the stream. I've enjoyed watching, and I've certainly enjoyed participating today. So I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and see you next year.
Very nice. Eric?
I wanted to mention that I made mention of the blog post that I put up about the Fedora spins. We've had a couple of new blog posts recently, which is great. And anyone who's interested in posting anything, just let Rocco or myself know, and we'll either take the article and post it for you, or we'll create an account for you to post. And it's really great to see that kind of content, because I think it helps people. Rocco had planted the seed of how we can grow the community in the coming year, and we've talked about YouTube channels and getting more information out there. And not everybody loves videos, so it's good to have some text content out there, some posts. So it doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be some epic journey through some discovery. It could just be, hey, this is how you do this, and keep in mind that we're trying to appeal to maybe some folks that aren't as in-depth and technical, so that would be a good thing to do.
Yep, very good. JJ, last word.
Just to go off Steve's point, if Linux is an addiction, then Big Daddy Linux is our group therapy. So, and I would really like to wish you guys a very happy New Year, and also very Merry Christmas to anybody who celebrates, and also Merry Christmas to those who celebrate Christmas on Epiphany. Just want to put that out there.
Cool.
Is it our therapy or our fix?
Depends on how you look at it, Dave.
A bit of both. A bit of both. And sorry, Rocco, I did just miss one other thing. We mentioned the fact that sorry, Adam. Sorry. Get my thoughts together here. We mentioned that Dan Simmons wasn't very well. Adam Grubbs has also not been very well and is recovering from surgery. So all the best there to Adam. And also very close to my heart, Mark Greaves from Peppermint is not well at the moment. He's suffering from quite bad back problems. So I wish all of those three people a very speedy recovery for 2020.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Agreed. And maybe, just maybe, if Adam gets a quick recovery, he will be back for the Fedora 31, because he is definitely a big fan of Fedora. So. All right, that is going to wrap it up for 2019. Can you believe it? It's already gone. And this is our last episode of the year. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here, for being on Zoom, for being in YouTube chat, for being in the Telegram group, in Discord, in Discourse. There's a variety of places that you can have a conversation with people through this community, and I love every single piece of it. So I appreciate all of your input. I definitely want to thank you, PZ, for being the guy I can rely on all year long, no matter what.
You're very welcome.
That I appreciate. Eric, Dan, Nate, and Bill, for all of the help that you guys have done for the community. I know we mention it, but there is so many things that you guys do that help this community, because there's no way, no possible way that I could do it all. So these guys that I just mentioned need a round of applause for all of the help they have given us this year. All right. Linux Spotlight, like Bill mentioned, was Emma Marshall. You should check that out. That was a great conversation with a great person. And that's all I'm going to say about it. You know her from Twitter. You know her from System 76. But you can get to know her more by watching the video on Linux Spotlight. That's this week. This coming week, Wednesday at 6 a.m., January 1st, I believe, it will be Brent Jerva from Brunch with Brent and Jupiter Broadcasting.
Good to
that
close.
Is a fantastic conversation. I just got done finishing it and editing it, and I would say that it has every element of a great conversation, from humor to being serious to being deep. It was pretty awesome. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. And other than that, Happy New Year, and we will see you next year. We are officially closed for business in 2019. We'll see you in 2020. Bye. But until then,
take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy Christmas, Kwanzaa.
For you, Chicken.
Festivus. Don't forget Festivus.
Bye.